There we go.
We are live, yeah.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Public Works and Service Committee meeting for July 13th, 2021. I will now call the meeting to order. First order would be approval of the minutes for the May 25th meeting.
Madam Chair, you want to call roll?
Move to approve?
Excuse me, we need roll call.
All right, we'll go with roll call. Alder Young,
Present.
Alder Santiago,
Present.
Alder Lemke. Here. Alder Rouse
Present.
and Alder Jones.
Present. Thank you. Now we will have the approval of the minutes for May 25th.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the minutes from May 25th, 2021. Any questions, comments, corrections? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposes, motion carries. Our first item is 0515-21. Mr. Pritzlaw.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have a communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the Department of Public Works, submitting bid results for contract 039 Hubbard Street reconstruction. On Wednesday, July 7th, 2021, the Department of Public Works received bids for contract 2021-039 Hubbard Street reconstruction and submits the same for your approval. The following bids were received. The lawn contractors, $343,122.87. A.W. Oaks and Son Incorporated, $389,751.00. Milwaukee General Construction at $399,324.03. This public works project was estimated at $349,000 and is a Racine Works program contract. It's recommended that this contract be awarded to the lawn contractors at their base bid of $343,122.87. Funding for this work is available in org object 401012-57500 wastewater projects.
Thank you. Any questions from committee members?
Move to approve. Second.
Motion and second to approve item 0515-21. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposes, motion carries. Our next item is 0516-21.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have a communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the Department of Public Works, submitting bid results for contract 2021-048-2021 street lighting. On Wednesday, July 7th, the Department of Public Works received bids for contract 2021-048-2021 street lighting and submits the same for your approval. The following bids were received as follows. Outdoor Lighting Construction Company, $109,130.94. Pro Electric Incorporated, $122,122.59. The Public Works Department project was estimated at $100,000 and is not a Racine Works program contract. It is recommended that this contract be awarded to Outdoor Lighting Construction Company at their base bid of $109,130.94. Funding for this work is available as follows in org object 45040-57520, replacing city circuits.
Thank you. Any questions from committee members? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve?
Second.
Motion and second to approve item 0516-21. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposes, Motion passes. Our next item is 0517-21. Mr. Fritzloff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have a communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the Department of Public Works submitting bid results for contract 2021050 traffic signal improvements, 16th Street and Lathrop Avenue. On Wednesday, July 7th at 2 p.m., the Department of Public Works received bids for contract 2021-050 traffic signal improvements at 16th Street and Lathrop, and submits the same for your approval. Following bids were received, we have a bid from Outdoor Lighting Construction Company at $138,323. Excuse me, let me repeat that. $138,323.52. And the bid from Pro Electric, $152,130.48. This project was estimated at $190,629.60. It is not a Racine Works program contract. It is recommended that this contract be awarded to a lighting construction company at the base bid of $138,323.52. Funding for this work is available at 45040-5740 traffic replacements.
Thank you. Any questions from committee members?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve item 0517-21. All those in favor, please let it be known by the signifying aye.
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 Opposes? Motion passes. Our next item is 0518-21. Mr. Fritzloff.
Yes, Madam Chair, we have a communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the Department of Public Works submitting bid results for contract 2021051 Lake Michigan Pathway Phase 4, Wisconsin Department of Transportation project number 1693-34-76. Commissioner Rooney.
Madam Chair, committee members, on Wednesday, June 23rd, the Department of Public Works received bids for contract 2021051 Lake Michigan Pathway Phase 4 WISDOT ID 1693-34-76. And so that's the same for your approval. Following bids were received: AW Oaks, $486,934.01. Leyland Contractors, $522,968.83. This Public Works Department project was estimated at $604,968, and it's not a Racine Works program contract. Just for a point of clarification, even though this contract is above the threshold amount of $200,000 for Racine Works program, it does have federal funding through Wisconsin DOT, so we cannot use the preference for Racine Works program. It is recommended this contract be awarded to AW Oaks and send it to base bid price of $486,934.01. Funding for this work is available in org object 4504057500 DPW paving. We do file for reimbursement with this project with Wisconsin DOT through our CMAQ programs. We front the money and then we file for 90%, 80 to 90% reimbursement on this project.
Thank you, Commissioner Rooney. Any questions from committee members? Alder Young.
Thank you, Chairwoman Jones, and thank you, Commissioner Rooney. A quick question just to detail where these resources are going. Is this contributing to a reconstruction of the pathway by the zoo, or has this phase 4 a different area of the pathway?
A reconstruction, did you say?
The path behind the zoo, the Lake Michigan pathway, is this, where would this money be? It's not gonna be that, right?
This is no, good question, Alder. This is an extension of the pathway that terminates at the end of Roosevelt Park Drive near Racine Wastewater Treatment Plant. So it kind of terminates there. So this will be an extension down 24th Street. And then it will go down, I think that's Meade Street or something to 25th. And then it'll go in the right of way and connect up at the intersection of Highway 32 and Highway 11, and will terminate there. When we do our DOT project on Highway 11 next summer from Kearney Avenue to 32, that'll link up that completed project that'll have bike accommodations. And that, of course, will link you up to the trail that goes along West Boulevard and the We Energies right of way there too. There is funding as well in this project from the Village of Mount Pleasant. If you remember a meeting or so ago, you approved a municipal agreement where they're going to fund a portion of that as well. And they are taking that up for consideration at their village board meeting, I believe, this month as well.
Perfect. Excellent. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Any further questions from committee members? Staff? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve?
Second.
Motion and second to approve item 0518-21. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposes? The motion passes. If it's, well, I am going to fast forward to item 0532-21, which is on page 7 of your agenda. Since Mrs. Smith is here from the Art Deal, rather than have her wait through the entire meeting almost before she's up, if that's okay with everyone. Mr. Fritzloff, item 0532-21.
Thank you very much, Alder Jones. We have a communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the Commissioner of Public Works to close off Wisconsin Avenue from Jacobin Avenue to Karan Butler Drive from 6 a.m. to 8:45 a.m. and from 4 p.m. to 5:15 p.m. on August 1st, 2021 for the Racine Starving Artist Fair at the Jacobin Center.
Thank you, Mr. Fritzloff. Now I will ask if Mrs. Smith cared to share with us regarding the Starving Artist Fair.
Mhm. Yeah, so this is the second time we've had a break over COVID, but the last time we had our fair, we also closed down Main Street when we were on Gateway Campus. It's a safety measure. We've got 120 vendors coming in trying to unload, and we've got people standing in the street, and there's a lot of chaos during those hours. So if we could eliminate through traffic, that would be beneficial.
Thank you. Any questions from committee members? Oh, there he is.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this is an annual request by this organization, and they hold it every year at the Gateway campus. Because they're under construction, they're moving here. So this would be in step with previous approvals by Public Works and Services Committee for that event on Main and 10th Street, so they would require the same.
Thank you, Commissioner Rooney. Any further comments from staff? Committee members? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve item 0532-21. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposes? Motion carries. Thank you, Mrs. Smith.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item is 0519-21, Mr. Fritzloff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the Department of Public Works, submitting bid results for contract 2021063, Wisdom Museum and Graceland Cemetery paving improvements. On Wednesday, July 7th, the Department of Public Works received bids for the contract 2021063, Wisdom Museum and Graceland Cemetery pavement improvements, and submits the same for your approval. Following bids were received. Just got one bid, Kane and Dolan Incorporated, $279,900. This is a Park Recs and Cultural Services Department project, and it was estimated at $280,000, and it is a received work program. It is recommended that this contract be awarded to Payne Knoll at their combined base bid and alternate bid of $279,900. And funding for this work is available in work object 45040 57110 PRCS Land Improvements.
Thank you. Any questions from committee members? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve item 0519. Is that what we are? Yes, excuse me, 0519-21. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposes, motion passes. Our next item is 0521-21.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the city engineer, submitting change order number 1 to contract 2020-0010, concrete reconstruct Hamilton and LaSalle, Vinego Company Incorporated contractor. City Engineer Molitor.
Alder Jones and committee members, we are submitting rectifying change order number 1 to the above for the 2020-0010 contract for the concrete reconstruction Hamilton LaSalle. This change order amount is a deduct in the amount of $52,975.10. The original contract was approved in the amount of $1,382,276.27 under resolution number 0204-20 of last year, April 20th. This change order brings a total for the contract to $1,329,301.17. Funding is described on the memo and in the communication. If the committee agrees, we recommend approval of this change order.
Thank you. Any questions from committee members?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve item 0521-21. I have just one question. Can you tell us why we are deducting 52,000?
We had, basically, they cut out a portion of paving. There was less sanitary work. We didn't, I believe we didn't reconstruct all the way down to the bottom of the sanitary manholes. And then we eliminated some conduit because Family Gas Department had already put conduit in or right before the construction started. So it was all deduct. It was all less, item numbers. Doesn't happen often.
I know, that's why I was like, okay, what happened? Because I know sometimes, well, anyways, thank you.
Yeah, generally speaking, the rectifying or the last change orders before final payment, just rectify the quantities in the bidder's proposal. So, we make an estimate of how much material, is going to be needed, and based on certain unit costs, whether it's per linear foot or by the ton or the square yard or whatever, that becomes the estimate for bidding. That's how they commit to unit prices. And then when the job's done, we rectify actual number of quantities that happen on the project. Sometimes it's above, sometimes it's below. So doesn't mean there was anything necessarily wrong with the contract or anything. It's just that rarely does the exact quantity get built in the field. So the error is one. So.
Never seen it happen.
Thank you, Commissioner Rooney. If there are no further questions, comments, Alder Ross, did you? No. Alder Santiago, did you raise your hand? Oh, okay. If there are no further questions, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposes, the motion passes. The next item is 0520-21, Mr. Pritzlaw.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Communications sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the Department of Public Works to submit final payments. Contract 2020-0010, concrete reconstruct, Hamilton and LaSalle, Signago Company Incorporated contractor. City Engineer Molitor.
Alder Jones, committee members, the work on the contract 2020-0010, concrete reconstruct the Hamilton LaSalle has been completed, and Zignago Company Incorporated is requesting final payment in the amount of $1,329,301.17. Project was authorized by Resolution 0204-20 dated April 20th of 2020 in the amount of $1,382,276.27. Contract amount was just decreased by $52,975.10, but by change order number 1. The organ objects are expressed in the memo. If committee agrees, we recommend approving this final payment.
Any questions from committee members? Not, I will entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second to approve item 0520-21. If there are no questions, comments, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposes? The motion passes. Our next item is 0574-21.
We have a communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the city engineer submitting change order number 3 to contract 2020-0009, 21st Street concrete reconstruction, Zignago Company Incorporated contractor. City Engineer Molitor.
Alder Jones and committee members, we are submitting a rectifying change order number 3 on the above contract to increase the contract amount by $9,110.64, bringing the contract total to $1,049,729.29. The project was authorized by resolution number 0205-20 dated April 20th of 2020 in the amount of $888,431.48. Change order number 1, increased the contract amount by $56,247.50, bringing the contract total to $944,678.98. Change order number 2, increased the number of calendar days by 35 and increased the contract amount to $95,939.67, bringing the contract total to $1,040,618.65. If the committee agrees, we recommend that this rectifying change order be approved and finalizing the project.
Thank you. Any questions, comments from committee members? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve item 0574-21. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposes? The motion passes. Our next item, 0540-21, Mr. Principal.
Thank you. Communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the Department of Public Works to submit final payment on contract 2020-0009, 21st Street concrete reconstruction, Zignago Company Incorporated contractor. City Attorney Molitor. Excuse me. City Engineer Molitor. Whoops.
Alder Jones and committee members, we are the work on contract 2020-0009 for the 21st Street concrete reconstruct has been completed, and Zignago Company Incorporated is requesting final payment in the amount of $1,049,729.29. The project was authorized by resolution number 0205-20 dated April 20th of 2020 in the amount of $888,431.48. We've already discussed the previous change orders. This contract amount is now the requesting payment for $1,049,729.29. Org and Obs are explained in the memo. If the committee agrees, we recommend approval of the final payment.
Thank you. Any questions from committee members? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve item 0540-21. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposes? The motion passes. Our next item is 0539-21. Assistant Commissioner Pretzloff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have a communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the city engineer submitting change order number 3 to contract 2020-0057 Ohio Street Lighting, MP Systems Incorporated contractor, city engineer Mahler.
Alder Jones and committee members, we are submitting a rectifying change order number 3 on the above contract 2020-0057 to increase the contract amount by $4,007.06. This increased and also increased the calendar days by 28. This brings an effective start date to, or brought the effective start date to April 12th, 2021. And the contract total to $218,396.36. Project was originally authorized by resolution number 0562-20 dated September 1st of 2020 in the amount of $196,623.90. Change order number 1 increased the number of calendar days by 140 and basically in effect moved the start date to March 15th. We were trying to get it constructed at the end of last year and that would not work with materials. Change order number 2 increased the contract amount by $17,765.40, bringing the contract total to $214,389.30. If the committee agrees, this we recommend approval of this rectifying change order.
Thank you. Any questions from committee members? If not, I will entertain a motion.
So moves, or move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve item 0539-21. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposes? The motion passes. Our next item is 0538-21. Mr. Pritchlow.
Thank you, Alder Jones. Communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the Department of Public Works to submit final payment on contract 2020-0057 Ohio Street Lighting, MP Systems Incorporated contractor, city engineer Mahler.
Alder Jones, committee members, the work on contract 2020-0057, the Ohio Street Lighting Project, has been completed and MP Systems Incorporated is requesting final payment in the amount of $214,389.36. This project was authorized by resolution number 0562-20 dated September 1st of 2020 in the amount of $196,623.90. We previously discussed the 3 change orders. We recommend, if the committee agrees, we recommend approval of the final payment.
And the final payment, Madam Chair, should be $218,396.36. There's a discrepancy in the first line of the memo and the last line of the memo. It's $218,396.36.
Okay, so
Thank
we
you.
kind of transpose the numbers there a little bit.
I think that's the first one was the total after change order number 2. So
Any questions? Thank you, Commissioner Rain. Any questions from committee members? Did you understand the final price now is 218,396-36? Then I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve item 0538-21. If no further questions, comments, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposes? Motion passes. Thank you. Our next item, 0524-21, Mr. Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have a communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of City Engineer. Submitting change order number 1, the contract 2020-0013, CMP to RCP Storm Sewer Replacement, Globe Contractors Incorporated contractor, City Engineer Molitor.
Alder Jones and committee members, we are submitting our rectifying change order number 1 to the 2021-013 CMCP or CMP to RCP Storm Sewer Replacement Project. This will to increase the above contract amount by $66,671, even bringing the contract total to $421,846.50. This project was authorized by resolution number 0247-21 dated April 19th of 2021 in the amount of $355,175.50. The organobs are described in the memo. If the committee agrees, we recommend approval of the change order.
Thank you. Any questions from committee members? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve item 0524-21. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposes? Motion passes. Our next item is 0561-21.
I'm sorry.
Oh, go right ahead.
Well, we have a communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the Department of Public Works to submit final payment on contract 2021-013 CMP to RCP Storm Sewer Replacement Machine Works Program Globe Contractors Incorporated contractor, City Engineer Molitor.
Alder Jones, committee members, the work on contract 2021-013, the CMC or CMP to RCP Storm Sewer Replacement has been completed, and Globe Contractors Incorporated is requesting final payment in the amount of $421,846.50. This project was authorized by resolution number 0247-21 dated April 19th of 2021 in the amount of $355,175.50. The contract amount was just increased by rectifying change order by amount of $66,671 even by the funding is described in the memo. We recommend, if the committee agrees, we recommend final payment for this project.
Thank you, Mr. Molitor. Any questions from committee members? If not, I will entertain a motion, please.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve item 0561-21. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes. Thank you. Our next item is 0533-21. Assistant Commissioner Pritchlow.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have a communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of City Engineer submitting change order number 1 to contract 2021-003 sidewalk replacement phase 1 Forward Equipment LLC contractor, City Engineer Molitor.
Alder Jones, and committee members, we are submitting change order number 1 on the contract 2021-003 sidewalk replacement. Phase 1 on the above contract in the deduct amount of $38,212.90, bringing the contract total to $678,294.60. This project was authorized by resolution number 0083-21 dated February 17th of 2021 in the amount of $716,507.50. If the committee agrees, we recommend that this change order be approved. The organ are described in the memo.
Thank you. Any questions from committee members? Not, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve item 0533-21. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposes? The motion passes. Our next item is 0534-21. Mr. Pritchett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the Department of Public Works to submit final payment on contract 2020-0007 accessible streets and alleys, AW Oaks and Son Incorporated contractor, City Engineer Molitor.
Alder Jones, committee members, the work on contract 2020-0007, the accessible streets and alleys has been completed by AW Oaks and Son, and they are requesting final payment in the amount of $935,641.20. The project was authorized by resolution number 0115-20 dated March 3rd of 2020 in the amount of $924,045.20. The contract amount was increased by $11,596 by change order number 1 and dated June 1st of 2021. Funding is described in the memo below. If the committee agrees, we recommend final payment for this project.
Thank you. Any questions, comments from committee members? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve item 0534-21. If there are no questions, comments, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposes?
Aye.
Motion passes. Our next item is 0523-21. Mr. Pritzlaw.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the Commissioner of Public Works, submitting a request to enter a state municipal financial agreement for state project ID 2290-00-03/73, State Highway 38 Northwestern Avenue, Gulf Avenue to Rapids Drive, STPU 2021 to 2027 cycle. Commissioner Rooney.
Thank you. Madam Chair, committee members, we received a state municipal financial agreement for state project ID 2290-00-0373, State Trunk Highway 38 Northwestern Avenue from Rapids Drive to Gulf Avenue. In the SMFA, the municipality agrees to the following in the 2021 through 26 program cycle for state-led highway projects. The project funding conditions are that the project costs are funded with 75% federal funding for preliminary engineering and plan development of an estimated cost of $120,000. The municipality agrees to provide the remaining 25% and any funds in excess of $128,000. The roadway construction costs, standard roadway items will be 100% funded by federal government. Parking lanes will be 100% funded locally. That's $750,500 for roadway items, $82,000 for parking lanes. Non-participating items are funded 100% by the city estimated at $5,000. Total construction costs $837,500. In total, the project costs are $957,500, with $840,500 of that being from the Fed and $117,000 funded locally. Funding for the city share will be provided for in the 2022 through 2031 capital improvement program budget. If the committee agrees, the appropriate action would be to approve the state municipal financial agreement and authorize the mayor and city clerk to enter into the agreement.
Thank you, Commissioner Rooney. Any questions from committee members? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve item 0523-21. If there are no questions, comments, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposes? Motion carries. Our next item is 0559-21. Mr. Bridgewater.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the Commissioner of Public Works, submitting a request to enter into a revised state municipal agreement for state project ID 2703-00-2/72 West Sixth Street Bridge. Commissioner Rooney.
Thank you, Madam Chair, committee members. We received a revised state municipal agreement for state project ID 2703-00-272 West Sixth Street Bridge. The revision is providing the maximum cap of $5 million. The municipality agrees to the following project funding conditions. Project costs are funded with 80% federal funding up to the construction funding limit of $5 million. The municipality agrees to provide the remaining 20% and any funds in excess of the federal funding limit. The non-participating costs are 100% the responsibility of the municipality. Any work performed by the municipality prior to federal authorization is not eligible for federal funding. The municipality will be notified by the state the project is authorized and available for charging. The estimated cost of the project is $8,320,070.55, with the city share being $2,651,625.55, and the state share being $5,668,445, which is capped. Funding for this project is approved in the 2021 to 2030 capital improvement program budget. If the committee agrees, the appropriate action would be to approve the revised SMA and authorize the mayor and city clerk to enter into the revised agreement.
Thank you, Commissioner Rooney. Any questions from committee members? Alder Young.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Just a quick question, as this is a revised agreement, what inspired parties to come back to the table and bring this revised agreement to fruition?
Well, there was a couple things that were involved in the project. This project was actually started and we had entered into a state municipal agreement, almost 7-8 years ago during the 2013 to 2017 local bridge program. At that time, they only authorized the project for design and engineering. They did not authorize construction funds. So as we went through that design process, we amended the engineering contract several times because there was so many issues that had come up with archaeological, historical, environmental, Section 106, parklands, the entire gamut of things we ran into. The delay in all of the engineering to address all those issues obviously kept pushing the delay of the construction out further and further. When they took bids on it this spring, they came in high, which we thought would be the case. We were under some additional requirements by the DNR to have to install a causeway in there and do that certain time of the year due to the salmon that run up to the DNR Steelhead facility. So all those additional issues and that were presented by the project along the way, obviously incurred a lot of extra costs. And over time, this project, had increased because the project that you would build maybe 4 or 5 years ago is obviously a lot cheaper than it is today. Recognizing that fact, I had several conversations with WisDOT Southeast Region about trying to maximize and have more additional funding for this. I didn't believe the burden should be met by the city of Racine for the overage on this project. After they reviewed it, they agreed to go to the federal max cap, which is described in this new revised state municipal agreement. So this makes it obviously much more of a viable project for us. It's a project that we can't go backwards on. Racine Wastewater Utilities already spent quite a bit of money relocating an interceptor for this project. AT&T is going to be taking fiber optics off the bridge shortly and relocating them and putting them under the river, and then we'll be ready to go this fall. So that's how we got to this point. And I think we got the best funding deal we possibly could from the state of Wisconsin Department of Transportation.
Thank you, Commissioner, and I appreciate that context, because obviously I don't think that we would get that type of agreement, that type of commitment from the Department of Transportation of the state without city officials and city leaders making that effort and advocating for local taxpayers. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Any further questions, comments? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve item 0559-21. If there are no further questions, comments, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposes, motion carries. We're going to pause just a second and see if we can't get Alder Limke upgraded as a panelist.
Hey, Phil, this is Ron. Is she already updated or are we? good?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, she is a panelist.
Oh, she is. We just can't see her.
Yes,
You're off.
there we go.
Okay. I mean, I heard her voice. My apology, Alder Limke. I heard you a few minutes ago, and I thought at first it was Alder Ross's son that may have said it. And then I'm like, no, that's her voice. All right, thank you. Then our next item is 0594-21. Mr. Fritzlaw.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have a communication sponsored by Alder Santiago on behalf of Richard Frontier Eagles Club requesting permission to close the 300 block of Hamilton Street from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Sunday.
Skip on that.
Did we skip one?
I think we did.
Did we? 3rd Street. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
we
we took
did.
that one. Yeah, I'm sorry.
So you said 6-4, we need 9-4. So,
Yeah.
Yep, okay. We're gonna redo that one. All right, 0594-21, communication sponsored by Alder Jones to close 3rd Street from Main Street to Wisconsin Avenue from 12 p.m. until 8 p.m. on July 25th, 2021 for Littleport Brewing grand opening. Commissioner Rooney.
Madam Chairman, committee members, this is an item that appeared late yesterday in the queue. So it's a new event. What we can tell you about is they want to do a street closure on 3rd Street from Wisconsin Avenue to Main Street from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. on July 25th for their grand opening. This is an item that has to come to committee. This is your typical block party closure. I know they filled one out. You may have seen it in the attachments or the packets, but these do need to go to committee. Events such as these can be approved by this committee. There are certain conditions. They have to pay a processing fee of $75. A hold harmless agreement needs to be executed. Liability insurance certificate must be filed prior to the event. any overtime costs, incurred by any city departments gets charged to the sponsor as well. Notify abutting property owner 72 hours in advance of the event, pay the special event fee, and they're responsible for a temporary traffic control plan if the engineering department deems that is necessary. And they also have to clean up the street after they're done. These are pretty typical conditions for events that this committee approves. Again, new event, we have no experience with it. Staff would recommend approval, and we hope their event is successful.
Thank you, Commissioner Rooney.
This is Melissa. I would make a motion to approve. And I think we may have, did we miss the Starving Artist Fair?
No, Alder, Madam Chair Jones took that item up
Okay.
earlier in the agenda because that person who came to speak on that
Great, thank you.
was here earlier, so
Thank you. Sorry for that.
no problem.
No. Any, were you making a motion, Alder Lipke, or did you have an additional question?
Yeah, I would just move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve item 0594-21. If there are no further questions, comments, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The motion passes. Next item is 0564-21.
All right, I got it right this time. Communication sponsored by Alder Santiago on behalf of Richard Frontier Eagles Club. Requesting permission to close the 300 block of Hamilton Street from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Sunday, August 29th, 2021 for the 16th Annual Eagles Club Car and Motorcycle Show. So this particular event is an annual event. They've been trying to get it on our agenda for quite some time, probably like the last 3 or so meetings that we've had. They've been running into various problems, including COVID, and things of that nature. Commissioner Rooney had discussed all those types of stipulations we need to, that they'll need to abide by in the previous item. I'm not going to go through and reread them, but they are stipulations that are exactly the same as the previous item. And staff would recommend at this point that we approve and move forward.
Thank you. Any questions from committee members? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second?
Motion and second to approve item 0564-21. If we have no further questions or comments, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposes, motion passes. Our next item is 0526-21.
Thank you, Alder, or Madam Chair. Communication sponsored by Alder Jones on behalf of the Commissioner of Public Works, requesting permission to enter into a professional services agreement with FOTH for a solid waste and recycling management study. Commissioner Rooney.
Thanks, Ron. Madam Chair, our committee members, the city of Racine is currently utilizing Kestrel Hawk landfill for disposal of our solid waste. Since Kestrel Hawk is near capacity at their site, the city needs to determine options to handle both solid waste and recycling disposal once this landfill is closed. In order to accommodate this review, it is recommended the city of Racine enter into a professional services agreement with FOTH to determine options available for our future service requirements. The proposal would provide the following: review current operations of solid waste recycling in the Pearl Street facility, review future service options, including hauling materials to other landfill sites, creating a transfer station within the city limits, privatizing collection of solid waste and recycling, providing a summary of costs for each option to assist in determining appropriate means for implementation. If acceptable, I'd recommend the purchasing agent be authorized and directed to enter into an agreement with FOTH in the not to exceed amount of $44,900. This amount will cover the proposal fee of $34,900, includes up to $10,000 in additional time and material-based service costs in the event that something in the evaluation requires further services to complete the report. Funding to cover the cost of this agreement is available in 22-145-2200 recycling, contracted services. So in essence, what this is for is, notice that we received at the beginning of this year that the landfill has about 2 to 3 years left of useful life. We had been in discussion with Republic Services for most of 2020. We met, I believe, 3 times last year, and didn't really get anywhere in those discussions as to what their plans were for the expansion of that landfill. The landfill expansion requires DNR approval. It is about a 30 to 36 month process to go through landfill expansion permit approval with Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. Essentially what they're doing is they're going to approve it to a new geometric shape, the landfill. That's what they do. Republic Services had indicated in order for that to be viable, for them to go through that process of trying to expand the landfill, they needed to generate a certain amount of tonnage of waste to make that a viable and profitable operation. Republic Services is a private company. They're profit motivated. They don't operate a landfill for free. They had indicated to us that in order for them to remain profitable and get that landfill extended for, say, another 15 years, they'd be looking at tonnage of about 80,000 tons a year annually. They only receive half that now. Of that 40,000, the city of Racine put 60% of that into that landfill. We have about 25,000 tons a year that we bring out there. I don't know what their expectation was to how to get 80,000, especially in times of zero waste and other things that people are looking at. I don't know where they expected that extra tonnage to come from. That being said, they are not going to apply for an expansion. So we needed to kind of know that it was kind of a fish or bait, cut bait moment earlier this year to start on this process, because this is going to take about the same amount of time it would take if they were actually going to expand and we could continue doing business with them as usual. So myself and Ron Pritzloff and Tom Eeg had solicited a couple of consulting firms for proposals. We found that both was the one that I think best serves our needs to look at all the options and put all the cards on the table to do this. Whether we would continue to collect and haul to a transfer station, what are our nearest landfill options? Could the transfer station become the new Pearl Street facility where everything goes there? Figure out what the best move forward for the city of Racine is. This is a very complicated matter because it's interwoven with both our leaf collection program and our snow and ice operations. The stormwater utility, rents equipment from DPW that we use for solid waste. That's how we pick up our leaves. We have employees that work for solid waste who augment our snow and ice operation on different shifts for plowing. So this are all the things we want the consultant to sit down with the DPW management supervisory team and look at and be very careful and go through a very judicious process of coming up with what is the best alternative long-term for the city of Racine. So I know that little memo doesn't quite do it justice what we're looking for. Part of this proposal by FOLP is also a big public involvement portion of this. To see what type of service we want to be providing our citizenry. There is no free lunch in public works. Everything we do costs money. And it's going to cost, differently when we have to operate differently. That is, if we have to operate a transfer station, or maybe a private contractor will build one, or maybe we will build it and let them operate it. And, what do people want to pay for? What do they want to get included in those services? So this is something that we're going to be moving forward with once council gets approval on it. We'll be engaging members of the Common Council and public as we move forward. We anticipate this about 6 months. And by the beginning of next year, start having a plan laid out for the Common Council. This is something we want to have in place for 2023. We want to be prepared to do what we need to do when that landfill closes. And we aren't even sure of that actual date. So we want to be prepared to implement this at that time. So this is what that is for. If you have any more questions on this, I'd be glad to answer them, or you certainly can give me a call or send me an email anytime you like.
Thank you, Commissioner Rooney. Alder Young.
Thank you, Chairwoman Jones. Question about the selection of FOF. What factors contributed to saying that they were the best firm to do this study?
Well, I can let Ron jump in here too. AECOM was one of the other consultants that we looked at. Their fees were quite a bit higher. That was obviously a big deciding factor for us, but you get what you pay for. We realize that. But sometimes, the price of the proposal doesn't necessarily dictate, what you're going to get out of it. I think one thing that they had a much better understanding was of, and they had demonstrated that to us in both conference calls with them and their proposal, is their ability to shepherd this process through public outreach and helping getting that buy-in from both the public and the elected officials that this is where we want to go with this and come up with a plan that I think has real consensus building in it. Everybody knows what they're going to be getting out of this. So I think that was real important to us. I think that's what attracted us to Fold on this. I don't know, Ron, if you want to add anything?
Yeah, I think that was a big piece of it. It wasn't just it wasn't one of these things where you're just reading a proposal and then you're making a decision. We actually engaged with both of the consultants. And, as Commissioner Rooney said, the public outreach piece, both seemed to be a much better handle on that. Whereas when we were talking with AECOM, I was actually asking them the questions. So, what about public outreach? What about these things? And, I felt like Fold had, a much better handle on that, because that's going to be, there's a lot of technical pieces to this whole thing, but, the public outreach portion is going to be a hugely important piece of this. And, I thought they really shined in that area.
I think also what they provided too, correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan, the project leaders for this have a real great resume as it relates to working with other landfills and other municipalities on these exact same type of issues. And I think the way they demonstrated that really helped us make the decision as well. So, and AECOM did as well, but it just seemed like both overall had a better view of this project. And I think they understood us a little bit better when we sent out this request for proposal. I think they understood us better than their competitor did.
I would also say that one piece of the proposal that I particularly liked was they didn't just have folks working in the public sector. They actually brought people on the team who actually once worked for solid waste contractors. So there was there's all different perspectives. We're going to get more of a global feel, I think, from them moving forward.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions from committee members? Alder Ross.
Yes, thank you. So this isn't a new issue. I've been hearing about the possibility of this being capped since I was a kid. So I guess my question looking forward is, I remember that being a much more doom and gloom conversation back then. With this new partner, are we not only optimistic to maintain services and prices, but possibly use this as a chance to maybe improve on current situations, current practices maybe? Or is it still a battle to at least maintain current services?
Well, there's going to be an issue of what level of service we want to provide the citizenry here and how this is going to look in the future. So, you know, the issue with Republic in the Country Lock landfill, yeah, that conversation's been going on for a long time. Oh, it has so many years. Like, you know, they make really big, you know, technological changes in the way they landfill stuff. So maybe you might have heard about it 15 years ago. They were going to close in 5 years. Well, they have different practices that keep extending the life of that. The recycling has obviously been ubiquitous for the last, nearly 30 years now. So, you know, that stream of materials that doesn't go in there anymore. People just practicing better, are more conscious about their waste and what they're doing with it. So I think while those were always concerns, I think it just kind of led itself to being, you know, extended, almost as like the boy who cried wolf thing, you know. But it's got to the point now where they are starting to reach that permitted geometric shape right now, and they have to make a decision whether they want to go ahead and stay in business or not. And they need a waste stream that is just so large, it's not going to happen. I think we do have some opportunities, you know, to perhaps talk to some of the outlying communities. And if we were to say have a transfer station that we could, you know, site, maybe not even the city of Racine, but maybe somewhere in eastern Racine County that say that we could, you know, possibly look at, that may be an opportunity where all the other communities that have a John's or a Advance or whoever, you know, that are taking it over to the landfill now, they need to take it somewhere else as well. They're gonna have to haul to Franklin, or they're gonna have to haul out to Western Kenosha County. You know, they may be interested in bringing their material to our transfer station and have one hauler take it to one of these landfills, whatever's most economically feasible. You know, we do something like that, maybe we can generate a host fee, you know, if you will. We can get a host fee now because the landfills within in the city limits. So these are all the things that we're looking at with both, and we want to make sure this is well done, and we are going to be looking to see if there is a way that others may benefit from this. Mount Pleasant, Sturtevant, Wind Point, Caledonia, and if they can, then we should receive an even bigger benefit from it. So I hope that answers your question. I don't know if it did or not, but
Yeah, I was generally looking for what our sense of optimism is going forward. Like, is this an act of desperation because we have no choice at this point, or is it something we've been looking forward to moving us into the next level of waste management?
A little bit of both, to be honest with you. I mean, again, this is something that people have been talking about for a long time. I think it's really going to bring to a head, I think, a lot of issues that we have with waste collection in the city. We operate, as you probably know, a Cadillac system for waste collection for the residents of the city of Racine. There are not many municipalities that perform some of the same type of services that we do, especially when it's contracted out. It's very regimented. This is all you get, and you take care of the rest on your own. So again, that's that part of that public outreach and what we want. I think it's going to help us focus on what's really important, you know, so far as waste collection matters are concerned, we're seeing. And I think it gives us an opportunity to also rethink how DPW operationally is going to look over the next several years and into the future, and how we may have to revisit operations for leaf collection, snow and ice operations. So I think while this is going to kind of be a little bit of a difficult find, I think it's a great opportunity for us as well.
All right, thank you.
Any further questions from committee members? Just one comment for me. Do you think the zero waste now for recycling would impact this decision at all? As far as the landfill not filling up as fast?
Well, I think it has a part of it, you know, that has to do with it. People are, like I said, are being more conscious. You know, people are are reusing stuff instead of maybe throwing something to the curb, that would go to the landfill, that they're like, oh, great, that's more waste stream for us. We can charge for tipping fees. People are now maybe, reusing that, say, taking that table to, I'm trying to think of a non-for-profit organization that can maybe give that furniture to somebody who needs it, repurposing stuff like that. I think all these initiatives are, have led to the fact that there is a reduced amount of waste going to the landfill. And the number, it's a numbers game. The numbers aren't adding up for them. So.
Thank you. Any further questions, comments? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second to approve item 0526-21. If we have no further questions, comments, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposes? Motion passes. Our next item is 0541-21.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have a communication sponsored by Alder Jones from St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church of Racine requesting a revocable occupancy permit under Wisconsin statute section 66.0425 for an existing private underground vault encroaching within the public right-of-way at 703 Washington Avenue. Commissioner Rooney.
Thank you, Madam Chair, committee members. The church right over here, it's just located just south of East City Hall in the roundabout. They have an underground vault that exists on the Grand Avenue side of the church there. We discovered it because there was a little failure at the top of it. We put some barricades on it, and they are going to address the repair that needs to be done. They do desire that vault remain in the public right of way. They use it for other needs. We do allow that to happen, but that's why we need a revocable occupancy permit. It is an encroachment in the public right of way. So they have asked that the Public Works Services Committee entertain this request. The normal stipulations for any revocable permit are required. The $150 fee be paid, and it'll get filed with the register of deeds that encroachment exists. And our recommendation is to approve their request.
Thank you, Commissioner Rooney. Any questions from committee members?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve item 0541-21. If there are no questions, comments, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposes? Motion passes. Next item, 0527-21.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have a communication sponsored by Mayor Mason submitting the lease agreement for Toys for Tots. The lease for Toys for Tots at the City Hall Annex expired on June 30th of 2021. Prior to the proposed lease, the City of Racine did not require Toys for Tots to pay any rent for the space that they use in the City Hall Annex. They currently occupy 9,741 square feet of space. Pursuant to direction from the administration, the City of Racine has negotiated a new lease for Toys for Tots based on square footage they occupy and the minimum cost of utilities. Details are their total lease space is 9,741 square feet. The utility cost per square foot is $1.14 per square foot for a total annual lease amount of $11,104.74. Cost associated with the new lease represents the lowest possible cost per square foot based on their pro rata share of utilities costs for the building and does not reflect costs for maintenance or capital projects. The committee agrees the appropriate action will be to approve the new lease.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second to approve item 0527-21. Any questions, comments? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
I have one
Aye.
question.
Aye.
I just wanted to know how long Toys for Tots has been there. That's all.
Oh, I'm sorry, Alder Ross, I did not see your hand.
No problem. I just forgot the date. I don't know how long they've been there.
Approximately 48 years.
48. Okay, thank you.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposes, motion passes. Our next item is 0509-21. Mr. Prince-Law.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have a resolution sponsored by Alder Perez requesting a no stopping and standing for parking between 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. along Lockwood Park on Grayson Boulevard between where the no parking signs are currently and Ohio. I guess I'll throw this one out to Alder Perez. If you want to speak on this item, we did not have the opportunity to get any other details beyond what was on the agenda here.
Madam Chairman,
Perez?
thank you. Yeah, several months ago, we approved no parking signs along Graceland Boulevard from the entrance to Lockwood Park eastbound to the dead end street on the north side of the street. And that was for crime prevention, basically overnight parking, where we were having issues with cars coming and doing drug deals and some of those other things in the park area. I've been informed that the drug deals are now happening in the area that's not marked, which is from the entrance to Lockwood Park to Ohio on Graceland Boulevard, which is another expanse of about 3 blocks. It's continual from the entrance to the park to Ohio. I would like to have that area included as well as part of the ordinance so that no parking from 10 to 6 can be posted on that side of the street as well, so that the police department is empowered to enforce parking on that side when they suspect a violation of law in the middle of the night by a park where there is nothing but the park and hills where you can easily transact illegal activities and so forth, and the trees cover, make it dark. And I think it's a very important safety concern. And this no parking signs actually empower the police to take some action at this point if they run across it when they have time.
Thank you, Alder Perez. Are there any questions from committee members? Alder Ross.
So is this just going to be on the stretch that is directly connected to like where the hill goes down? Okay, and from frequenting that area a lot, I don't think many of the residential people park across the street there. So the residential parking is more inward. So it's not going to impede residential overnight parking.
Correct.
Any further questions from committee members? If not, Commissioner Rooney.
Just to let the committee know, if this is enacted from where it currently terminates now, near the entrance of the park all the way up to Ohio Street, that means that all the residential parking will be permitted on the south side of the street. They don't have to do any alternate street side parking, just so everybody's aware of that. So that it does, create some, they're not difficult challenges, but there's some expectation I think that needs to be managed of the people that live there. For example, when we want to sweep that south side of the street there, we're going to have to post that. They're going to have to move and probably park on the northwest streets or park in their driveways. So we still need to, when we do leaf collection, these are all activities we do during these hours, usually in the early wee hours of the morning. And snow and ice operations as well. We're going to need to get to a point in time where we're going to have them moved out of, that area as well. We'll post that, but so they'll have to get used to some of those changes operationally. And this isn't anything we don't do in other areas. We have other streets where we have no parking posted on one side of the street, narrow streets, but it's just an expectation. Hopefully, Alder Perez, you can help manage with your constituents. So, we have to take care of the street, and they'll see signs posted now and again for various activities.
Thank you, Commissioner Rooney. Any further questions from committee members? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Hold on just 1 second. Commissioner Rooney.
Yeah, we will write the recommendation up now that we've understood it from Alder Perez, and we will put it in the item that goes to Common Council. So you're going to see a little change in section 94 of the transportation ordinances. I don't have the recommendation right now in front of me, but we'll have it written up when we get this submitted to extend this parking restriction. So
Is that okay with committee members that we can just move forward and it'll be accepted? Thank you.
So, Madam Chair, point of information, would we then make a motion to instruct the Commissioner of Public Works to draft that, or just approve the item in front of us?
I recommend just approving the item and we'll get it drafted the right way.
Well, I move to approve.
Is there a second? Motion and second to approve item 0509-21. If we have no further questions, comments, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposes? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank
all.
you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Our next item, 0522-21.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have a communication sponsored by Alder Jones submitting the final resolution for the following street assessments. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Just bear with me for a moment. And you should be seeing a set of graphs on your screen. Is everybody being able to see that? Wonderful. Commissioner Rooney.
Thank you. So we did this at our last Public Works Services Committee for the first public hearing that was held. This year, this is going to be a repeat of what we did at that last one. Again, I'll go over some of the things that I went over. It's a little maybe repetitive to the committee, but maybe for somebody who's watching this on Facebook Live, they can at least get a better idea of some of these things that I want to try to express here. So what we will be doing tonight with the committee members is we'll go through each of these improvements individually. We'll bring up both an improvement option for Portland cement concrete pavement or bituminous. We kind of redid the slides here. When we take these, I think it'll be a lot easier for the committee members to follow. Won't be so clumsy as going back and forth. Essentially, what we'll do is we'll kind of go through the percentage of the frontage either in favor of the project or against the project, whether that be asphalt or that be concrete. The percentage is based on front footage. And it's not based on the number of people per se. The more frontage one has on the project, the more their vote obviously counts in that regard. So we'll go through that. We'll show you, what property owners were in favor or against, and we'll give you those totals. I want to start by just quickly going over again, what we're looking at for a typical 7-inch Portland cement concrete pavement. This is typical 32-foot, from the flange of curb to flange of curb. So over the last 25 years, you can see back in 1998, this type of construction, costs us a little over $33 a foot. And, it's fairly level for about 10 years or so. And then we saw an increase about, 2008, where the price started to go up. Back in 2021, last year, the prices that were approved by Common Council was triple of where it was back in 1998. So you can see the cost is really risen high over the last, 5-6 years here. And it's due a lot to a lot of the construction that's going on. We're seeing it's the Foxconn effect, it's the price of materials. It's just construction, global market is really skyrocketed over the last couple of years, and particularly in southeast Wisconsin here. So the projected, costs for 2022 construction are $109 a front foot. So as you can see, as projects, get deferred or deleted by committee and common council, there is a tendency for costs to rise. In some years, you could get by with deferring a project for a couple of years and not really seeing an impact. It doesn't seem to be the case over the last 5 years. So you go to the next slide here. So if you look back at our last 5-year assessable cost per front foot, this has been pretty steady. So this is a simple projection, and so any project that gets deleted, we would be able to bring back for public hearing for 5 years. That would be spring of 2026. That means if approved at that time, it would get built in year 2027. Just projecting these costs out the last 5 years, out another 5 years. This isn't exact science, but it's just a simple linear math projection of it. These costs could be approaching $160 a front foot based on the current trend right now over the last 5 years. So something you might want to keep in mind when considering whether you want to approve or delete a project. So just it's for your use in making your decisions tonight.
Alder Ross.
Yeah, just briefly, do you happen to have that value in, let's say, taking with inflation into account, like a percentage of increase over inflation kind of thing?
No, these costs that are shown, this chart and the chart before, those are actual construction costs so what we do is we look at past bids when we bring so in the fall, usually of the year prior to assessments, we bring rates to Public Works and Services Committee and say, these are the rates per front foot, and Common Council, Public Works Services Committee and Common Council approves those rates. Where do we derive those rates from? Those are from bid documents that we have in the previous years, and we call the contractors, Wisconsin Concrete Pavers Association, Wisconsin Asphalt Pavers Association, and get the idea of where the costs are going to be the following year. So that $109 per front foot in 2022, that is our best guess, I guess, with inflation, with trends in the construction industry. That is our cost based on the research that we do and the data that we've had and collected over years and years and years here. So that's where we get that information from. It's very specific to our cost here in the city of Racine for this type of paving. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm just interested in analyzing some of those numbers. I might have to send you an email on that.
Okay. So how we'll start, we generally gave you the whole list with all the improvements on. We're just going to show the first two options for this, and then we'll flash to the all the residents and what their desires were individually, who was for, who was against, and then we'll give you a few images or pictures of the project in case you haven't had a chance to go out there and look at it for yourself. So for Deborah Lane, the first one we have, the limits are from Maryland to Delaware. The first option was Portland cement concrete pavement. The pavement condition index was 32. There are 21 properties on this proposed improvement. We had 0% in favor, 19.75% of the frontage opposed. We received a couple phone calls. Somebody spoke at the virtual public hearing. We received an email on that, and we have virtually identical information for the bituminous concrete paving option or hot mix asphalt. Same exact percentage opposed. Same number of individuals either called or spoke at the virtual public hearing or emailed us. Ryan, you want to slide down to get a little better representation? So these are all those properties that I had mentioned, those 21. These are the folks that contacted us, and this is how we calculated the percentages in favor or against. Anything against is in red, anything in favor is in green. So identical information for both Portland cement concrete pavement and bituminous. And then lastly, if you want, we have a photo here of the condition of the street. Again, once these streets fall below PCI of 40, then we're obligated to get them before you for public hearing. So with that, Madam Chair, if you want to start the discussion on Portland cement concrete pavement for this, you could certainly open it up.
Okay. But we're just asking for any, how they are viewing this now. I'm trying to recall how we did this before. Asking committee members if they want to do Portland cement or bituminous.
Yeah, and the options will be tonight, you're either going to approve Portland cement concrete paving, or you're going to approve bituminous, or you're going to delete both of them. So you do one or the other.
The alleys only have a concrete.
And the alleys are only proposed as concrete, correct? So.
Thank you. Committee members, do I have a motion on Deborah Lane as far as Portland cement or bituminous, or a motion to delete both or approve?
Move to approve for bituminous.
Second.
Motion and second to approve bituminous for Deborah Lane. Any questions, comments?
Yeah, is it okay if I speak, Molly? It's sort of hard to hear. Okay. So I would just say that, the percent that are for it or against are essentially the same. So we might as well put in concrete. I don't think it does anybody favors if we put in bituminous, because the way things work, if we replace it with bituminous, we're just going to be going through this all over again eventually. Whereas if we approve a Portland cement concrete, especially given that people are not more or less in favor of one or the other, then the next time this comes up, it's just a part of the overall city picture and, the overall budget and the overall decision-making in public works. And, I think that makes for much easier planning for the public works and services. And also then, I feel like it's just kicking the can down the road, because then the next time we're going to come to this again and try to decide if it's concrete, as if instead of just putting it in concrete in the first place, and then, the next residents won't have to deal with that.
Thank you, Alderman Lipke. So do the maker of the motion for bituminous wish to rescind his motion?
That's exactly what I was getting at. Thank you.
And then I will entertain a motion for Deborah Lane for Portland cement.
So moves.
Second.
Motion and second to Portland cement. Any further questions, comments? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposes? Portland cement is the choice. Now, I would like to receive a motion to delete bituminous.
Move to delete bituminous.
Second.
Motion and second to delete bituminous from Deborah Lane. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposes? Motion passes. So we're deleting bituminous. The next one is North Osborne Boulevard. Commissioner Rooney.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the next proposed improvement is North Osborne Boulevard from Fairway Drive to Ravine Drive. The PCI, is 17. The proposed improvement was Portland cement concrete pavement. There are only two properties on the proposed improvement. One of them is obviously in favor, one's against, for Portland cement concrete pavement. It's 61% in favor, roughly 39% opposed. The same person who was opposed for Portland cement is opposed for bituminous, and the other property was not in favor of paving in bituminous, but wasn't opposed to it either. Again, this is the two properties that there, how they voted in favor or against both improvements. Ron, if you want to show them the photograph of the street condition. And Madam Chair, you can open it up for discussion unless there are questions of staff.
Staff, any questions?
Or if they have questions for staff.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you said staff question. My apology. Are there any questions from committee members?
Sorry,
Alderman Key?
I was just gonna say I make a motion to approve paving in Portland cement.
Second.
Motion and second to approve Portland cement for North Osborne Boulevard. Any discussions, questions? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposes? The motion passes. I would entertain a motion to delete Osborne from bituminous, please.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second to delete North Osborne Boulevard from bituminous. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposes? Motion carries. Our next item is Spring Valley Drive, Commissioner Rooney.
So for Spring Valley Drive, the limits are from 107 feet north of Harrington Drive to Vista Drive. Portland cement concrete pavement was proposed. The PCI is 18. There are 23 properties along the proposed improvement. 9% of the frontage is in favor. We received a few emails in regards to that. 31.5% roughly is opposed to the improvement. Couple phone calls. One person spoke at the virtual public hearing and received a few emails on that. On the bituminous side, we have no one speaking or no one submit in favor of that. And again, the exact same frontage and individuals were opposed to bituminous. Ron, if you want to scroll down, you can see for Portland cement concrete paving, those are the properties that were in favor. Those were against. Obviously the blank ones, I don't think I have a preference either way. Again, the data for bituminous paving, again, no one was in favor. The same 31.5% was opposed. And then we'll offer you a photo of the street condition for this particular roadway.
Any questions from committee members for staff? Alder Young, did you raise your hand?
I did not,
Oh, okay.
but thank you.
Alder Limpy, we can't see you. Do you have a hand raised?
No, I'm here, but I don't know why. Maybe because the PowerPoint can't see me.
Thank you.
Can we put that bigger box so you see all of them? Right there. Yeah. There we go.
Oh, okay, now we can view you. Thank you. Any questions from committee members? Alder Young.
Thank you, Chairman Jones. As the poll that had been indicated by Commissioner Rooney indicates, there are some local residents who are opposed to this project. And so as and they're organized around this project not happening. But the condition of the road seems to be very poor. And so I would hesitate to completely delete this project as it seems to be needed. over passionate vocal minority of individuals on the street who indicated opposition. So it would be, I think, in the best judgment of this committee, in order to keep up the infrastructure of the city, to engage in some type of reconstruction. And I would look to the commissioner for advice over which he would recommend in terms of bituminous or.
Thank you, Alder Young.
Thank you.
Commissioner Murray, before you do, would you just give us again how many residents we have on the street? How many opposed and how many, I mean, number-wise?
There were 23 properties that abutted the proposed improvement. And we had 31% of the frontage. So Ron, if you scroll down a little bit, you can see that amounts to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 properties roughly out of the 23 were opposed. And then to answer Alder Young's question, I think actually Alder Lemke, kind of summed it up best in her comments regarding Deborah Lane. So, here's the thing, we can rebuild this with Portland cement concrete pavement. Once that happens, it's built out of a permanent pavement. It forever becomes a responsibility overall of DPW and the overall city budget to, keep it in a good state of repair. And then when it does have problems, it's our job to recondition it. Maybe that's a resurfacing project or, do some, joint replacement, whatever the case may be. So that cost then to those property owners and whoever they eventually sell their property to won't be an issue anymore. Yeah, we can mill this off. We could replace it with bituminous. A mill and fill job like this, you're gonna hope to get 20, 25 years out of it, maybe 30 if you're lucky. I don't even know. It all depends on that underlying base condition. It can be done. It will eventually deteriorate. Not all pavements last forever. It'll eventually return to the state one day, and when it does, you'll have another group of residents in for public hearing. Maybe some of them will still be here at that point in time in the future. So again, they look at that rising cost of construction. I look back at a lot of improvements over the years. I've been here 21 years, and I've seen streets that have got deleted multiple times that have gone through, 5 years later getting deleted and another 5 years later. And you can see what the costs are to those residents after they've been deleted several times. I think a lot of them would have loved to have rebuilt the road at a cost maybe at a third or a half of what they're facing, now. So our recommendation is Portland cement concrete pavement. It usually always has been. A previous alderman requested that we brought both options before Public Works and Services, and we have done that since then. I believe that was Alderman Helding requested that many years ago to give constituents a choice. But again, the same issues arise. If we do it in bituminous, it's still considered non-permanent pavement, and they could be back in front of the committee again.
Thank you, Commissioner Rooney. Any further questions from committee members?
I would make a motion to approve the staff recommendations.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second to approve Portland cement concrete. Any further questions? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposes? The motion passes for Portland cement for Spring Valley Drive. I would entertain a motion to delete Spring Valley Drive from bituminous.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and properly second to delete Spring Valley Drive from bituminous. All those in favor, did I do that?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposes? Thank you. The next street is Indiana Street. Mr. Rooney.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next proposed improvement is Indiana Street, Durand Avenue to Pierce Boulevard. The proposed improvement is either Portland cement concrete pavement or bituminous. PCI is 30. There are 21 properties on the proposed improvement. You may want to minimize that because I can't. No, we can see it there, yeah. We had 0% in favor of the proposed improvement. We have 81% of the frontage opposed to it. That consists of 13 property owners by petition, a couple phone calls and emails, the exact same opposition to both improvements. All right, I'm going to scroll down. So you can see of those 21 properties there, the 18 that are opposed for both Portland cement and bituminous. And if you scroll down, you can see a picture of the existing pavement out there on Indiana Street.
Thank you, Commissioner Rooney. Can we get our committee members back?
Yeah.
There we go.
All right, thank you. Any questions, comments from committee members?
Move to delete. Oh, go ahead.
Alder Ross has a hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to note that the condition of the road right now includes some patches, some temporary work, that it's not all from the same construction. So there's levels of deterioration that are hard to tell just by the visual.
Any further questions from committee members? Alder Ross, did you have a question for Commissioner Rooney regarding the entire street? Or it's just the portion that you can observe?
Yeah, and I guess more to point to the question is, this was mistakenly brought up, and that's the reason why we've been requested to remove it, aside from the normal no's from the constituents in that area, from the people on that street. My worry is that then this pushes out the street for another 5 years. I just want to be prepared to have to bring this back up should this road deteriorate pretty badly within that next 5 years. Like, I don't expect this to just go away in the next 5 years.
It's my understanding that if we do delete it, the alder of that district can bring it back within those 5 years. If that makes it easy for you.
Yep, thank you. I just wanted to.
Next year, if you wanted to, right?
Even a resident of, or a property owner on that street can bring a request forward. It would need a sponsor, but even a resident, they just can't wait for 5 years. As long as it gets a sponsor, this committee can entertain a preliminary resolution. We can get it scheduled for a public hearing. Just as staff, just so you're all aware, as staff, once a item is deleted, you've been directed by common council not to bring forward the improvement again for 5 years. In previous decades, they were bringing the same street in every year. And I think the alders at that point made a wise decision, like create a period, a waiting period, so you're not going through the same process. Now, if this Public Works and Services Committee or another one wants to maybe make that a 3-year minimum waiting period to bring them back more frequently, you know, that's a decision that you as a collective body can make. But right now, those are the rules that we operate under. But we'll bring it back in 5 years unless we hear from someone else sooner and the committee approves it.
Thank you. Can I make a motion to second Alder Santiago's?
Can you repeat that again, Alder Ross?
Can I make a motion then to second Alder Santiago's motion to delete?
Yes.
Thank you.
So it's been properly motion and second to delete. Did you want to do it for both Portland and bituminous?
Yes.
Are you agree with that, Alder Ross?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, motion and second to delete Indiana Street from both Portland cement and bituminous. Any questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposes? Motion passes to delete both bituminous and Portland concrete for Indiana. Next street is Chicory Road. Commissioner Rooney.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. So we have Chicory Road, our next improvement from 200 feet west of Pine Ridge Lane to approximately 1,546 feet east of Wood Duck Way. Just a little background on Chicory Road. So Chicory Road was last improved about 15 years ago. It was done through the 2002 revenue sharing agreement that was developed back in that day. Required there were a few projects that would be done on municipal borders to improve roadways. It was thrown in the agreement for revenue sharing for the sewer agreement, and we executed those. Those three projects that were agreed upon were Chicory Road, Oaks Road, the section from 16th Street, almost to where 21st Street is extended, and then 3 Mile Road as well. So we've done all of those projects. They were funded with revenue sharing funds, and there were some assessments that were levied as well at that time. Part of Chicory Road was built in concrete at that time. That's the area that you would see near the industrial park, east of the We Energies right of way. That's where most of the heavy truck traffic is coming out of those businesses. And then the western portion was built out of bituminous, and that was what was decided on back in 2005 or 2006 when we did this project. So as you can see, the bituminous section obviously has worn quicker than the concrete section, and the PCI has finally fell under that threshold limit of 33. So that's why the improvement is before Public Works and Services Committee. And it's just for that section that is bituminous. So, as we are tasked with doing, we bring that forward for public hearing. We have 2 options: Portland cement concrete paving or bituminous pavement. The PCI again is 30. There are 26 properties affected by this proposed improvement. We have 0% of the frontage in favor of either improvement, and we have the exact same percentage opposed to both improvements, 44.4%. We petitioned with 14 property owners on it. We received about 4 emails and half as many phone calls. So the following here shows you the property owners that are opposed. Like I said, nobody was in favor of it. It's identical for both Portland and bituminous. And if you scroll down, we can show you a photo of the street and some of the deterioration that it's starting to receive. This is the first time this has been brought up for public hearing since we improved it, like I said, back about 15 years ago.
Thank you, Commissioner Rooney. Any quick, Alder Ross?
Yeah, thank you. I'll save some time. This is my district. I've been working on this one since mid-May. This is an interesting one in that it also involves people who don't vote in the city of Racine, but have some of their property abuts this road. So they were assessed, but also don't have representation other than me offering my services to them. But everyone was opposed to it, including a chief engineer, Chad Regalia. I think he works in the water utility department for the city of Racine, who happens to also live over there. And he sent me a strongly worded opposition, even gave me the details as a city engineer, why he thinks this shouldn't have this shouldn't go through. Also noting that a lot of that frontage of the ones who didn't respond were like RUSD, there was Evergreen, and there was a farm. So they take a lot of that space, but don't account for like normal constituents, voters, people who respond in that situation. So in that sense, I would make a motion to delete bituminous and Portland cement.
Second.
The motion and properly second to delete Chicory Road from both Portland cement and bituminous. Any further questions, comments? If not, Alder Young.
Thank you, Chairwoman Jones. Just out of curiosity, I'm imagining this is west of the industrial park. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So,
So this is Mallard Shores, would be on the south side of the west end of this proposed improvement. And on the east end of this improvement, you'd have, I believe that's SC, no, it's Dr. Jones School on the north, and is it Evergreen?
Evergreen.
Yeah, like the magnet school, whatever it is on the south side. That's the limits of this improvement.
great. Thank you.
That's
Yeah.
the area that was done in bituminous.
Thank you. Yeah, and the reason I asked that question is because obviously with roads like this that lead towards industrial parks and other areas of commerce, considering residential priorities is important, but we should also consider the commerce that relies on that type of infrastructure to get their product to market. Knowing that there's an industrial park there, we want to make sure that this type of infrastructure is up to snuff, and that folks who employ people in the city, want to stay here because we have the best infrastructure in the state. So that would be my only caution. But obviously, respecting the elder of the district's wishes, I think we're moving in the right direction.
Just a comment on that, Alder Young. And Ron was the Assistant Director of Public Works for Mount Pleasant before he joined us here, before he came to the other side. So, the intent of Chicory Road, where we did pave it in concrete, was to have that connect to Memorial Drive. So that could connect to State Trunk Highway 11 and connect it to State Trunk Highway 32. So, I think that's where ideally where the truck traffic should come to and fro as it relates to the industrial park that the city has developed in that part of the area. And I do believe there are weight limits on Chicory to the west. And I think that is the reason why 15 years ago, when this project was developed and approved by both the city of Racine and Mount Pleasant, it was decided on concrete in the area where the truck should be at, and it should be bituminous, kind of where the residential area is, hoping that the truck traffic stays on the concrete section and either goes north or goes east and gets on the connecting highways to move around to wherever they have to go. Is it?
Yeah, that's correct. There's a section there that's noted Class B.
Yeah.
And it's a fairly substantial issue in terms of truckers will go out and they'll get a $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 fine just for going past the sign. So it's a big deal out there.
I think to Ron's comment is, for 15 years, if this did have truck traffic that wasn't being enforced, roadway, I think it'd be in a lot tougher shape than what you see it is today. So
Well, that's good context. Thank you.
Alder Ross, I saw your hand. Was it still up or did you have another question?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that there's a no trucking road that way, just to hopefully ease some concerns. And I have been working a lot with the sheriff on that issue of the trucks going down there. They've been really helpful about that. So hopefully we can extend that life of that road a little bit longer.
Thank you. Any further questions from committee members or staff? Have any additional? If not, all those in favor of deleting Chicory Road, both for bituminous and Portland cement, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposes?
Nay.
1 nay and 3
Mhm.
ayes. Okay. The motion passes. The next item is alley 20th Street to Meacham Street, Taylor Avenue to Kearney. Commissioner Rooney.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this is a reminder of the alleys that are brought up. Those are not brought up by staff. These were brought in by the alder of that district. So the proposed improvement is the alley bounded by 20th Street, Meacham Street, Taylor Avenue, and Kearney Avenue. The proposed improvement is Portland cement concrete pavement. We don't do PCI ratings on alleys. We are starting to collect that data finally this year. That's going to be now incorporated. So we'll start collecting data on our alleys, but we have not up to this point in time. There are 33 properties along the proposed improvement. We had 0% of the frontage in favor, just over 20% opposed. Received a few phone calls and 5 emails, and the exact same opposition. No, I'm sorry, that's just for the Portland cement concrete. I'm sorry. And so you can see here the tally of the folks that were opposed to it. It looks like there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the 33 properties opposed. And there's a photo of the alley condition for your use.
Any questions from committee members? Adeliki, did you have a question?
Yeah, I was just curious. So these alleys, are they being used at all for like trash truck pickup kind of things?
Oh, most of them are. I mean, this particular alley, I mean, I could see some cans in the photo. I would say the answer to that question is probably yes, 95% of the time.
Right. And in that case, you know, because I think we don't have to just think about the road, but also the trash trucks, the snow plows, everything else that would need to go to clear of those alleys, I would make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and motion and second to approve alley 20th Street to Meacham Street, Taylor Avenue to Kearney Avenue. Any further questions, comments? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next alley, Commissioner Rooney.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That alley is bounded by St. Clair Street and Erie Street, Gould Street, and Walton Avenue. The proposed improvement is Portland cement concrete pavement. Again, no PCI. There are 26 properties along the proposed improvement. We have 7.75% of the frontage in favor of the improvement, and just over 23% of the frontage opposed. Going to scroll down, we can show them the number of property owners. Looks like we had 2 property owners in favor and 6 opposed. And we could show the condition of that alley as well. And again, this would be a request of the alder of that district.
Who's the alder of that?
It was probably
William Becker now.
it was probably
Jennifer.
Levy,
Okay.
yeah, at the time.
That's my name, right?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
and probably Becker now.
Yep.
Move to,
Did you have your hand raised? Any questions from committee members?
move to approve.
Holly Young? It's just that your box is lit up. I don't see your hand, but
Move to approve.
Second.
motion and second to approve alley St. Clair Street to Erie Street, Gould Street to Walton Avenue in Portland Cement. If there are no further questions, comments, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. I would now entertain a motion to amend,
Approve as amended.
approve as amended,
So moved.
street assessments.
Second,
Second.
Motion and approve, excuse me, motion and second to approve as amended, correct? The following street assessments. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposes? The motion passes. That concludes our agenda for this afternoon. Thank you, everyone, committee members and staff. And everyone have a good afternoon or evening.
Thank you.
Have a great one. Bye.
Bye. Okay.